welcome to another edition of Gen Sports Corner. Back at you for Sunday, October 8th, 2023. And look, big win last night. You already know Phillies stunned the Atlanta Braves in their house, had them losing their minds, throwing beer cans on the field. Man, we got it done. So, congrats to the Phillies. And then obviously, the Eagles 4-0 going into their game today, 405. And then I'm gonna go through the slated games, give my predictions and whatnot. But before I get into it, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff for the YouTube fam. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this NFL slate first, and then I'll go and get ahead and get into the Phillies game. So today, a lot of good games. We had a Saturday game that's going on right now between the Jaguars and the Bills over in London. And my pick for that was the Buffalo Bills. So the Bills were favored by 5.5 points. I had them covering the spread and getting the win. So right now the score is 11-7. Excuse me, Jacksonville as we wind down the third quarter. So we'll see if my prediction holds up there. But I just thought that the Bills defense getting Von Miller back, even though they lost Tre'Davious White to the ACL, I mean not ACL, Achilles tear. I think that addition for them, even with the subtraction of White, makes their defense that much more ferocious getting after the quarterback. And it's shown, even with the flight over to London and the jet lag possibly. The defense is showing up with the injuries. The offense has to pick it up. But it's a low scoring game, so we'll see how that turns out. Second game that already happened, that was on Thursday between the Washington Foreskins, Commanders, and the Chicago Bears. I picked Washington, and I think all of us were shocked that not only did they not cover the 6.5 point spread, but they got the doors blown off of them by Justin Fields and that offense. So 40 points for the Bears, 20 points for the Commanders. Commanders fans, I'm sorry, not sorry that you guys suffered like that, but hey, it is what it is. Next on the slate, we have the Atlanta Falcons playing at home versus the Houston Texans. Falcons favored by 1.5 points. And I actually picked Houston to win this game, and I'll tell you why. You have C.J. Stroud, who's been having a great rookie season at quarterback behind center for them. And the Atlanta Falcons, they're a run-first team, but they can't really pass the ball that well. And Houston's been getting a decent pass rush. They don't stop the run very well, which is Atlanta's strength, but they have a decent pass rush. And Atlanta can't pass. Ritter, he passes well at home, but I'm just not confident in them. So I actually see the Texans coming in with the upset over Atlanta today. Next game, Detroit Lions playing at home in the Dome versus the Carolina Panthers. Lions are favored by 9.5 points. I have the Lions covering this. The Panthers are not that good this year. This is a rebuilding year. Bryce Young has not looked good behind that line. They can't protect him. The receivers outside of Thielen here and there are doing absolutely nothing. Miles Sanders is struggling out there with the Panthers. And they don't really have much going on for them in terms of defense. And Detroit, they're rolling. Detroit is rolling on offense. Golf, even though St. Brown's out today, you still have Jahmyr Gibbs. You have Jameson Williams coming back, the speedster out of Alabama. You have another guy I can't remember, and then you have the rookie tight end Sam Laporta. They have a lot of different tools in that shed, and then on defense, their secondary. So I don't see Carolina doing much of anything today. So Detroit covering the spread and winning. Next game on the docket, Indy playing in Indy in the Dome versus the Tennessee Titans. Colts favored by 1.5 points. I think this will be a close game, but I have the Colts winning this game over Tennessee. Tennessee, they have 21 straight games scoring less than 21 points or something to that nature. They are about to tie the record for some team from the 66-67 season. The record is 22 straight games under a certain point total. So they don't score the ball well. DeAndre Hopkins has been a bright spot for them as well as Derrick Henry, but overall they just don't move the ball on offense. The Colts, they've actually been having some success with Anthony Richardson behind center, the rookie quarterback. He scrambles well, uses his legs, And I see the Colts being able to edge them out because they do have a good run defense. And I think they'll be able to rein in Derrick Henry to some extent. And divisional games, as you know, the teams know each other very well, so they're more familiar and they'll have a game plan for Derrick Henry and some of the things that they like to do. Next on the docket, Miami Dolphins playing in Miami versus the New York Giants. I almost laughed trying to get that name out. They suck so bad this year. And breaking news, Saquon Barkley is out today, so they're really going to have a tough time. Miami's favored by 11.5 points. I picked them to cover the spread, so I'm picking Miami to win this game pretty comfortably, probably by like 10 to 15 points. Next game, New England Patriots favored by 1.5 points at home against the New Orleans Saints. I'm picking the Patriots to win this game, and this is actually on my Pick'ems league. I had this as my lowest scoring game. The Saints have been having trouble scoring the ball, as have the Patriots. But the Patriots, I think they're a little more solid. The defense, they always bring good things under Bill Belichick, so I think they'll edge them out this game. They've been targeting Hunter Henry. I don't know how well the Saints do with defending the tight end, but I see Hunter Henry possibly having an interesting game today, getting some targets. Next game on the docket, Baltimore Ravens on the road in the Steel City in Pittsburgh. They're favored by 3.5 points at Heinz Field. And I have the Ravens winning this game. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they have a good defense this year, but their offense sucks. And Kenny Pickett has a banged up knee, which he couldn't afford even. He hasn't been doing great even when he's healthy, so you really can't afford to have a banged up knee. But he's going to play anyway. And Lamar Jackson, he's been heating up. I think he'll have some things for that Pittsburgh defense. Expect him, I think, to put up 2 to 4 touchdowns through the air. I got Baltimore winning this game. Then next on the list, we have the Cincinnati Bengals playing on the road in Arizona. Cardinals favored by 2.5 points. I think the Cardinals no, Cincy is favored by 2.5 points, but I have the Cardinals winning this game. I think Josh Dobbs is playing very well this year. He's using his legs. He's a little bit more seasoned as a passer. Not great, but solid enough. And he gets out that pocket and makes you pay. And Joe Burrow has not been playing well this year. They can't protect him. He has the strained calf. He's trying to get it healed up right, but it was clear last week that he couldn't move. He had no mobility. Excuse that quarter dropping. He has no mobility, and he's a sitting target back there. Jamar Chase is struggling. And at a certain point, I think he's just going to start chucking it up to Jamar Chase. But right now, they don't do a lot of things great on offense. And the Cardinals, they actually they've been playing well on defense, actually. So I actually think that they're going to upset them at home. Going on the road when you're struggling is difficult, and this is not a pushover team. So I think the Cardinals upset them. Next game is the Eagles, but I'll circle back to them. Next game, 425. This is Denver playing at home in Mile High versus the New York Jets. Denver's favored by 2.5, and this is another game where I think there will be an upset because Denver is statistically last in almost every category you can think about on defense, and their offense is anemic. And then the Jets, if they play anywhere near to the level that they did against the Chiefs, they will win this game. I think Zach Wilson is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde personified in a football uniform. But I think he's progressing. So we'll see if this is a step forward for him or if he regresses back to the Zach Wilson that we've been seeing the past 2 years. But I have the Jets winning this game. That defense is going to be all over the Denver Broncos. And I think Bryce Hall against that crappy-ass Denver run defense is going to run all over them. So I got the Jets upsetting Denver in their house. Next on the list, 425 game, Kansas City Chiefs on the road in Minneapolis against the Minnesota Vikings. Chiefs are favored by 5.5 points. I think this is going to be a shootout. I think it's going to be one of the highest scoring games. But I think that Kansas City is more solid on both sides of the ball. These are two very, very good offenses, but the Chiefs have a more solid defense than the Vikings do. They can get after you a little more consistently with that pass rush ever since Chris Jones came back and got the deal that he wanted. So I have KC winning this game probably by like 6 to 7 points, but I think it will be a very good game, highly competitive, a lot of points, a lot of action on offense. And then we have the Sunday night game between the 49ers and the Dallas Cowgirls. They're playing in San Francisco, well, at their home. They don't play in San Fran anymore, but they're playing at the 49ers Stadium. 49ers favored by 3.5 points. Another good game, I believe, but I have San Fran winning this by 7 to 10 points. I think that offensively they're more consistent, and that's going to be the difference because San Fran has a beast of a defense, but Dallas has a very good defense as well. They target the linebacker a lot, but Banner Esch, he has given up the least yards per target, I think. I don't know, maybe to running backs or just in general of many of the linebackers out here. So I think he's going to be up for the challenge. But I just think that San Fran has more ways to beat you than Dallas does right now offensively. So I'm going with San Fran. And then let's go ahead to the games I'm interested in, and we'll start out with the Raiders. Las Vegas Raiders playing tomorrow night, Monday Night Football, 8:15 in Las Vegas at Allegiant Stadium versus the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay Packers favored by 1.5 points. Jimmy Garoppolo coming back from a concussion. He cleared the concussion protocol, and he's going to be starting under center for us. And then you have Jordan Love across from him, and they're going to have their duel. But I don't think that the Raiders do enough well right now to be. They'll be competitive, but I just don't know if they win here because Devontae Adams, he's been tough to stop. But even with that, we have had trouble sustaining drives early in the game. It's always a case of us coming on later in the game and making it close near the end, but not being able to get over the hump. We've got to stop having these slow starts. I watched it in the game against the Steelers. I'm watching it on the big screen in the bar, and we're getting our heads kicked in. And I go to get on the train. By the time I get back, I see the score is we lost 23-17 or something like that. It's like, why do we have to be down 17-3 before we decide to even start playing or kicking it up? That's not the time to be getting your stuff together. You need to get it right off the rip. Because the Steelers game, even the Chargers game, we lost 24-17. We were getting our heads kicked in last week against the Chargers. And you come on late in that game, why does it have to be that way? Do the little things right early. The blocking in the run game. Josh Jacobs had a very great game, but early on in the game, he couldn't get the ball into his hands before somebody was in the backfield meeting him. Unacceptable. Technique, tighten it up, clean it up in practice, get it correct, because you might be able to have 2 more wins at this point and have a much better record than you have right now. So right now, I have Green Bay winning this game probably by 1 to 3 points. That's my pick for that game. Obviously, I want the Raiders to win, but until I see the consistency early on in the game, what am I supposed to think? So I'm picking Green Bay to win this game. And then the last game, 405 game, the Eagles, 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 playing on the road against the LA Rams. Eagles favored by 4.5 points. LA Rams been playing very, very well this year. Nakua can't get his first name right. He's been a revelation for them at wide receiver this year. And then you have Cooper Kupp coming back today. I don't know if he'll have any rep limitations or whatnot, but that's a big addition for them. Tua offense has already been playing well this year. Tua Atwell has been playing well as well. And then you have Kyron Williams. Yeah, Kyron Williams. And I have him on my fantasy team. He's been playing so well this year that they actually felt comfortable trading away Cam Akers. So that tells you everything you need to know about that offense. They've been playing very well. Matt Stafford's been doing his thing. So the Eagles, they're going to have to really, really be flying around in that secondary. And they picked up Bradley Roby, so they have some type of consistency at nickel cornerback, because you don't want to have to be moving Bradbury to the slot all the time and having Josh Jobe on the outside. He's been playing well, but you don't want Josh Jobe on the outside against some of the premier receivers. You want Josh Jobe in the slot if possible. And more ideally, having Bradley Roby in the slot because he has the requisite experience. Right? I believe from his time with the Broncos, he was a very, very high-level nickel cornerback. So now you can leave Slay and Bradbury on the outside. And now you have a little more depth, because it was a scary sight when Slay went down with the injury last week. Thank goodness he was able to come back in and he wasn't seriously hurt. But you don't have a lot of depth behind the starters right now. And one of my buddies was telling, we were talking about this before the season started, and that was one of his concerns. And I was on board with them. And at least they've somewhat shored up the depth behind those two guys right now. And then defensively, the Rams, I don't really know much about them defensively, but what I do know is nobody's been able to hold the Eagles, I believe, under 400 yards this year. We put up yards, we move the ball. Even in the games we struggle, man, we are moving the damn ball. And we put up points. Because even throughout all our struggles this year, you look at the point totals. Just go and look at the point totals for the Eagles this year, and you'll see how much success they've had even when they've struggled. So game one, 25 points against a very tough Patriots squad, at least defensively. 34 points against the Vikings. 25 points against a tough defensive squad and the Buccaneers, even though their offense sucks. And then 34 points against the Commanders last week. So even when they're struggling, they're putting up 25 points minimum. And then they're topping out at 34 points. They are literally averaging about 20, let's say nine, about 29 and a half points a game in their first four games. And this was all the criticism saying that they are not as good as their record necessarily indicates, being at 4-0. They're, in my opinion, they're only going to get better from here because they have things that they can clean up, coachable things, not because of lack of talent. So I have the Eagles winning this game. I think they'll have like a 3 to 4 point win. I think it'll be a competitive game, something like 27-24. I think a high scoring game like that. And I have the Eagles coming out with a dub on that one. So let me know what you guys think about that. If I covered your team and you agree, disagree, leave your comments down. I'm more than happy to, have fellowship with you guys on that one and talk about it. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and segue over to the Phillies and talk about that huge Game 1 win. They stole the game down in Atlanta, which is, man, they had to be sick about that. You steal a game in the fashion you did. They shut them the hell out, man. Shut down 3-0 in Game 1 at the NLDS. And you had Bryce Harper with the big home run solo shot that just really ripped the heart out of that crowd off of Spencer Strider, who's one of the best pitchers in all of baseball, with that 98, 99 mile an hour heater and that wicked slider. He's really one of the premier pitchers in the game, and they were able to get 2 runs off of him. And then obviously you had the controversial call with catcher's interference when JT swung the bat, and they called that, and it brought in the 3rd run. But I really love Rob Thompson's approach to this game. We played solid, disciplined baseball. Early on, Kyle Schwarber gets you the single to drive in. You get the single early on to drive in Bryce Harper. It might not have been Kyle Schwarber, but Kyle Schwarber got picked off at third base, which is like, look, I love you, Schwarber, but that's not your strength right there. But it all worked out because Trey Turner was able to steal a base, so we got the out was going to happen anyway. But all we did was swap Trey Turner at second base for Kyle Schwarber, which no harm, no foul. I'm great with that. And then it might have been the next inning or whatnot, but the Phillies, they were able to put up a run on the board. Oh, in the 4th inning. In the 4th inning, they put up a run on the board. Harper got on base, and somebody, don't remember, drove him in for the first run. And then later on in the game, he gets a solo shot. So he's literally putting the team on his back saying, I'm the MVP. This is my house. Not just, my house isn't just in Philly. I have a house in Atlanta too. Give me my respect. So great game by Harper and the boys. And let's go ahead and talk about the controversial call, the catcher interference. And on the replay, it was imperceptible. You couldn't really see the bat hitting the catcher's glove as JT swung it through the zone. But this is a very great channel for people to check out if you're a baseball fanatic or if you're just genuinely interested in what happened in this game with that call. Go to John Boy, JOMBOY, on YouTube.com. And he gave a video breakdown. He slowed down the film, and he actually slowed down the audio and put it up, superimposed it over the slowed down video, and you could see from one angle, the one he showed on TV, it doesn't look like the bat touches the glove at all. It looks like it goes over the glove, and you don't really see the glove move or shake as the bat comes past. But from the opposite angle, you can see the bat coming through the zone, and this is a straight on angle. When you zoomed in, you can see the bat coming through the zone, and as it goes past the glove, you see one of the strands from the glove start flickering as the when the bat goes past. And technically that is catcher's interference. And on the audio, when the bat goes past, you can hear boom and then boom. So the first one is boom, the bat hitting the laces on the glove, boom, and then the second sound is the ball hitting the bat and deflecting, boom. It's in real time. There's no way to be able to see that and confirm that call. It's so inconclusive. But the catcher, he said, I didn't feel it, but I heard it. And that's the same thing, the same sentiment that the umpire and JT, who's the batter in the box, had as well. You couldn't see it, but they heard it. JT Realmuto, for those who don't know, he's our catcher. When both catchers look at each other and say, "Oh yeah, okay," then yeah, it was catcher's interference. He didn't protest it. JT was emphatic like that was interference, and then the Atlanta Braves catcher was like, "Yeah, yeah, you're right," and then he just like took his mask off and hit it on his knee like, "Dang, they got me," right? He didn't protest it at all. It wasn't until they saw the replay that the manager wanted to challenge it, but the catcher was resigned to like, yeah, damn, I messed up. And then when Nick Castellanos came up and, they started throwing beer cans on the field and whatnot, when they confirmed that the call was catcher's interference, the fans went buck wild. And while they were waiting for things to simmer down, Nick Castellanos was in the not batter's box, but on deck circle, and he was asking the catcher, "Yo, was it interference?" He was like, "Yeah." He's like, "I didn't feel it, but I heard it. I heard it." So make of that what you will, but that was in the grand scheme of things, it didn't matter because we ended up shutting them out anyway. But that is my take on that situation. Let me know what you guys think of that. And then we have game 2 coming up on Monday night tomorrow at 6 o'clock or 6:05, one of those two times. You have Max Fried on the mound for the Braves, and then you have Zach Wheeler on the mound for the Phillies. Great matchup. The extra day of rest is really helping us out because now we can have Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola as our game 2 and game 3 starters, so it didn't really mess up our rotation. And I really love what Rob Thompson did and the way he managed his game and why he started Ranger Suarez and managed the bullpen the way he did. Because one, he knew he had the extra day of rest on Sunday, so he was able to use Ranger Suarez for about 2 times through the lineup. That's like 3.5 innings almost, maybe 3 2/3 innings. I think Ranger Suarez had, and he was able to take him out and then bring in guys from the bullpen, Sir Anthony, Matt Strom. He was able to bring guys from the bullpen and manage the game from there because now you have the extra day of rest for your relievers to rest up anyway, so it don't matter if you use them in game 1. And then 2, you don't give the Braves, the best hitting team in baseball, a chance to see Ranger Suarez for a 3rd time through the lineup, so you keep him safe. And then 3, you allow yourself to steal a game on the road against, again, the best hitting team in Major League Baseball and reset your starting rotation. Start from the top. Everybody's fresh. Just a great job all around by the team and Rob Thompson navigating those waters. So impressive win. And look, fun fact, the second hottest team in baseball since I think either the trade deadline or June 2nd has been, guess who? The Philadelphia Phillies. We hit the ball well, and we've been pitching very, very well, and the bullpen's been on target. All right, so a lot of people were shocked that they upended the Braves yesterday, but I'm not. You look at last year, we upended them as well, but this year we have more batting, right? We have more power. We hit for average better because you have Trey Turner. Not only does he hit for average, but he brings you speed around the bases that you didn't have Last year, you kind of only had Bryson Stott and then Bryce Harper, and that's it. Now you have one of the fastest guys in baseball that can get on base and kill you on the base paths. And then your bullpen is playing better. You have Craig Kimbrell, who now you have a bona fide, legitimate closer, right? They're an even better team last year than they were. They're even an even better team than they were last year. Even though the Braves are better, the Phillies got better too, right? So they were good teams, and we closed. Even though we both got better, we closed that gap even further, right? To the point that we can win on any given day. So look, I like our chances tomorrow as well, especially with Wheeler on the mound. Wheeler has been one of the best pitchers in baseball. Now, Striker, he obviously, we saw him last night, and we were able to get to him for 2 runs. He still had a very good game. You only give up 2 runs. That's a really great game. It's just that their offense couldn't do anything. But you look at the WAR stat for pitchers, and that's win above replacements. Win above replacements, that's how much better are you than the average person at your position. Like if you were to replace if the average pitcher was to replace your guy at the position, how much better is your guy than the average guy? And Wheeler is in the top 10 for that stat in all of baseball at 4.2. He's 8th on that list. So you know what I mean? Like he's that guy. He is really that guy. And even though Strider was a great pitcher, he's been pitching even better than Strider did in game 1. All right, even though he doesn't have as many wins as Strider. Strider has 20 wins, right? He might be a Cy Young candidate. He might win a Cy Young. Wheeler, his win-loss percentage, he's sitting at 10 in that top 10. He's sitting in the top 10 for win-loss percentage, for walks and hits per inning, for wins above replacement for pitchers. You know what I'm saying? So for walks, he don't give up a lot of walks per 9 innings. He only gets 1.8 walks per 9 innings. That's 6 in all Major League Baseball. You know what I mean? So we're in a good spot going into this game. So I think the Phillies, they can go in and steal this game as well because, and this was my sentiment going into this series, if you get past the starting pitching for the Braves and you get to that bullpen, I think they are very beatable. Same thing with the Phillies. If they're able to get 4 to 5 solid innings out of their starters and we get to our bullpen, I think we're better than the Braves. I think we can win this series within 5 games. But again, it's a tough series, but I think that we can top this team. So I have the Phillies winning going into game 2 as well. I think it can get a little dicey once we get to Framber Valdez. I think he's on the roster. We had problems with him against the Astros last year in the World Series. He has a funky delivery as a lefty and quite an odd repertoire of pitches. So that game, I think, will give us problems. But Max Fried, I think we can get after him. So let me know what you guys think about that. Let me go ahead and read comments real quick before I wrap up and get ready to watch this next slate of games. When he pulled Ranger, I thought it was a wrong decision, but it worked out, so I was wrong. Good job by the manager. Yeah, facts. And like I said, he had that extra day of rest, he knew we had that extra day of rest today in the back of his mind, so he was able to sit back and get a lot more creative and really burn through the bullpen because their arms will be fresh 2 days from now anyway. So yeah. So that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in. And I'll catch you guys after the games, man. Till next time. Peace.